Yeah. Okay. Welcome. Today, we can give a glimpse of what we learned last time. The last time we met. If you have a note.
The last time we met, hold on. So last time we met, it was about, for me, it was data architecture, the principle of data architecture, including data modeling, data warehousing, and data. I can't remember what's that. I think I missed one though.
The last one, but Manu, are you there? What do we talk about?
So the last one after that,
data socializations.
Oh.
Socializing.
No, last time we met, we talked about data governance components. And you remember we talked about this?
Oh, yeah.
Please take note of that. So today I'm going to talk about the scope of data. Data governance scope, what it entails. Okay. All right, everyone.
Yeah.
So we're going to finish on time today. Okay.
If I may ask, what is this about? It looks like I'm in a different meeting.
Claudia?
Yes, sir.
What meeting you think you are? This data governance meeting.
Oh, okay. And is this a part of data analysis or security, cyber security?
The training we are. It's a data governance training. So, and you know our curriculum covers up to data analysis as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the middle and I'm gonna be so confused. Can I exit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So because the last time we come with the stage of data analysis. So if you want to, no problem.
Yeah, I would love to know when a new class is starting. Because right now I'm in the middle of the ocean. I'm trying to grasp what is going on.
To be quite honest, this is a new class, you know.
Okay.
It's a new class. To be quite honest, they have only done one class, which this is the second one.
Okay.
Yeah,
so what is the certification?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, data governance.
Okay.
So of course, we move beyond that data governance to data analysis as well, and a safeguarding office as well. So you know, visualization office as well. So we have so many aspects of this training. So this is a new class. Everyone here is actually new, so except a tutor. So
okay, let me listen in, if you permit me.
Sorry?
Can I?
Sorry?
I said, if you permit me, I could listen in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so the last time we talked about, we examined the components, different components of data governance. We talk about the people. Of course, we mentioned that data is more valuable after the most valuable after the people. So we explained that during the case of ocean spread that we came out with, and without people, data can move. So, and the people are the people who have normally have strategies for data governance and management of the same. So we talk about the process that need to be put in place for the program to be well run, backed up with policies, with standards enshrined, which of course we can have best standard. And also when all the aspect of the program has been put together, you secure your program and then you socialize the same and communicate to all stakeholders, set up metrics in which you can measure the performance of your program, and you could use the technology. So we went through every aspect of this, started with the people, and also we started with data strategy, and we follow by strategy. We talk about the data processes, and we also talk about the policies as well. And we talk about the standard and rules are put in place in order for people to adhere to. And then we also talk about security, mention the communication and the socialization and the metrics in which we measure what we need to measure and the technology. So we're gonna examine today the scope of data governance. Please, some of you have got the literature for this, but some of you haven't got yet. Please make sure if you haven't got your literature, do not hesitate to contact me. I'll send it to you by tomorrow. Okay, everyone? Okay, so data governance scope. One of the scope of data governance is quality assurance. Please take note. Quality assurance, actually setting up and tracking rules to ensure and maintain data quality. So assurance is just how you can set up and tracking the rules to ensure and maintain data quality. So in this place right now, we're talking about quality, the maintenance of data quality, and also tracking the rules to ensure the same to happen. So what are the kind of challenges you may face when this is more or less a practical, because a question can be asked. So how can you ensure data quality, data assurance? Okay. So what are the challenges you must have faced even when you're working or when you've just been employed, or because they're going to look at your CV that you have been probably been working or not. So they're going to ask those kind of questions. What are the challenges you face? I don't know if someone can see right from there.
Yeah, inconsistent data quality across various systems and departments.
This is big. This is serious.
That leads to inaccuracies in reporting and decision making.
This, I think, it would be nice for me to rule this place and underline it seriously. Want me to make it bold?
Yeah.
Very important. Very important. Once you cannot maintain data quality and you do not have a track rules to ensure the maintenance, your assurance is not sure. So, and the consequence of it, the consequences of it are wrong reporting and decision making. So that is why data analysts must ensure that any initiative to ensure data quality must have absolute maintenance, and at the same time have the data so that to ensure that the data has integrity. So once data are inconsistent, the inconsistency has affected the quality issue of the data. The first assignment we will give is about the data quality issues that you need to raise on and log it in and find the rating and then assign it to whoever the data owner is, and probably also data stewards. With the quality dimension, you're able to know and the rating, you're able to know the scope and the scope of time that is expected for that to be rectified. That's very important. You will draw, you will look, you will use it as a practical. I will give you customer, relation platform. and then you'll be able to identify the issues and log it in and do what is expected to do. For example, sales figures differ between the CRM system and financial reports due to discrepancies in how data is entered and validated. What can you say in this? What do you think would have been the cause apart from that?
Please come back.
Look at the example. If you look at the example, sales figures differ between the CRM platform system and financial reports due to discrepancies in how data is entered and validated. So what do you think will be the cause for such to happen?
So the data generated from sales, maybe quantity, type of material or equipment being sold, as at what time, is if it's not entered properly into data base of the into database, during the analysis, it would affect whatever the financial status of the company will be, because at certain times, if you have fluctuations, if you have in sales being made, you should be able to know from entering the right data where the fluctuations are, when they occurred, and then that will help you be able to find out why they are occurring and what's the reason. And then during your financial forecast, you should be able to look at where you put in money, what improvements you need to do, and to help you boost your next sales.
That's good. Really good. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say something.
Yep.
Sometimes the inconsistencies of data that I know is it depends on the metrics that is set in place. You know, how do you want to receive this data? And if they are received, how do you want to validate them? And at what time do you want to receive them? For example, like my brother was talking about the entering of the data. So do you want the data to be entered by by either the users or maybe whoever, you know? Do you want them to be entered like manually, or do you want them to be entered using a system that we call synchronous and asynchronous method, you know? And those two also, they have their advantage and disadvantage.
Yeah.
Yes. So do you want it to be, or do you want those things, even when they are entered, do you want them to be like in real time, be read real time? And the reason why they need to be read real time is so that in validation, you want to make sure there is no duplication. And then you also want to make sure that data are in sequence, so that when this is missing, if this is not gotten, then it will just stay and say, oh, I'm missing a piece, I need that piece. Except they receive that piece, then they cannot continue. So those are those all you have to put what kind of company or business that you are doing and how you want to receive those data. And then don't forget that in the process of looking for the missing piece, that is time. Time is of the essence right there. Do you have that time for you to be waiting for that missing piece? So all these are things that we need to sit together and tell ourselves how we want our data to be received, how we want them to be retained, and how we want them to be validated, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it makes sense. I
Yeah,
purposely
yes,
asked this
it does.
question for a reason. Yeah. Bob,
Can I ask the question? Yeah. So, from what Claudia just said, I think you have data stewards, those that will be appointed to go put in this data, and if it's going to be automated, like you said, so with humans, it's easy to have errors, but automation, you might be able to clean out those errors and use your automation.
absolutely.
So, like So if would you mind if you enter sales more than one time, which is like you said, that's a
duplication.
Duplication, definitely is going to send a wrong signal to your total sales being made, which is a wrong report to stakeholders and all that. So I suppose that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Claudia, thank you so much, and Bomano. We are talking about assurance right here. And this is one of the biggest area in data analysis and also data governance. If you want to manage and govern data, this is one of the biggest. If you carry out your data quality program or initiative, you need assurance. And if assurance is not there, it's definitely it's not going to result in wrong reporting, inaccurate reporting, and decision making. How? What Claudia actually is talking about, automation, or maybe we're talking about standardization. So in most cases, if data that are coming in, incoming data, if they're not well standardized, as it comes, you just enter. And then that later you'll be fishing them out, finding it difficult to know where right or data it should be. When you standardize data, on the point of entry, most cases, where if it is manual, then there's going to be a very big problem. If it is right, that you use your software to say, okay, any data importing from everywhere, from any data set, as it comes, it must fall within the standard, otherwise it's not going to be allowed to go in. That's the automation system. As once that is done, it will be easy for you to work with those data. And that's how it is. And it will help you a lot. So if data like in CRM system right now, platform, and discrepancy or now enter as a result of data entry, then there's going to be a very big problem. So as data analysts, potential ones, just know that this aspect of it is very, very important. So solution to such is implement data quality checks right from the day one. At data entry point, that is where you can get this thing arrested. Set up automated validations rules, like what Claudia said the other time, and conduct periodic. Please note this, because when you are asked a question, when you to come out with initiative or carry out in terms of data quality initiative, you must say this, how you implemented it, and what you did, how you automated the validation rules, and conduct, because this is talking about how do you take care of your initiative. You always carry out periodic data audits to rectify inconsistencies and maintain high data quality standards. Remember that word. I think I need to really underline it because it comes a lot in an interview. Okay, remember that, very important. If you don't regularly look at what you have established, and then you're going to be having a problem. So what that means,
So,
yep.
I have a practical example that I can, which is
Okay.
also like a problem. And so what you have underlined might just be solution to it. So
Absolutely.
some of the persons that do sell, the sales rep, or people that sell like in a supermarket or departmental store, so what they do, some of them do, is that the ones that are crooked. So what they do, they come in the morning with some of the items being sold on the shelf. So because they have they have access to what's it called, putting price tags on them.
Yeah.
They equally, so let's say on the shelf you have 10 pieces of maybe sardines to be sold. And if a customer buys, by the time they go through the what's it called, the machine, it will record two being sold. So what they do in the morning, they come in and add, instead of 10, they add maybe 5 to it, makes it 15. So now when the customer buys, the first 5 being sold, they don't remit that money to the owner. So yeah, so it's more like using the platform to also sell their own goods. So if you go back to check, you have your 10 pieces back on the shelf. Meanwhile, they've sold off on your platform and make that money for themselves.
Wow. Those
Yeah.
products,
So
are
you see,
they their own personal product or?
yes, so their own personal product, they bring it in, so they don't pay for the shop rent, they don't pay tax, but they sell on your platform, yeah, and make profits on your platform. So I think the way to check that is probably you have to go and do your audits and to ensure that what you have on your being sold is what yes, yeah, periodically, yeah.
And it has to be set up. It has to be set up. I think you just let me know a few things that because that can solve a very big problem with such supermarket. If there's a design, okay. Oh, that's very good. Wow, so people do that. Did they do that online as well?
Online might be a little difficult, but I mean, for those guys that sell, those that go to the shop physically, online might be a little difficult. They're just being mostly when it's a very big
Is it taking place? Is it
shop.
taking place in the United States of Africa?
Yeah.
Are you talking about a country called Nigeria?
Yeah.
If it is that country, then it can also be possible with online when it comes to now. Okay, that's very good. Yeah.
Bros get experience, so watch out.
So I can tell you that now let's come back to this periodic. We need to define the periodic. How often would that be? So if you are a manager governing data, please, if you want to define the periodic data audit, you need to define how periodic, or is it periodic data based on the kind of goods you sell, you're selling, if it is perishable or not perishable, how periodic, you must define it as a manager. Please take note of that from experience and from what you just gave out now, Manuel. So if you're dealing with other kind of data, something like you're working in the health sector, it might be monthly or bi-weekly or whatever. But when it talks about goods, perishable goods, and I think we need to really define this periodic very well. And I think you can also relate it with the price tag attached to each of these, product that you're having with your data. Oh, that's very good. I'm going to look at that area very well. Okay. All right, let's move to the next one. Data protection. This just ensuring the security and safety of our data. So we're talking about security and privacy right here. Those two aspects constitute what is called data protection. Data security dealing with unauthorized access or authorized access to data, while data privacy deals with risk and non-compliance with laws and regulation of data, handling data. So, and depends on the jurisdiction where those data are, and also it requires, a legal framework. Some people take advantage of low legal framework and do what they ought to, what they are doing. So you require security and safety of those data, tracking who accesses it and how it's being used. The challenge you may have in this, because this is when you talk about challenge, talking about practical. Okay, it's not really too interested in just letting you knowing the word, but also the practical aspect of it. So the challenge you may face will be like ensuring data security becomes increasingly complex with growing volumes of sensitive information and involving cybersecurity threats. So can we have an example of such?
I think it's more like the wall of China. When they built that wall, they were trying to protect themselves against their enemy, only to realize that the protection that they needed was actually supposed to be coming from the inside instead of the outside. Because if the inside is rotty, the outside is going to be prone to attack. You understand?
Yeah.
Because they realized that the gate that was supposed to be guided, those guides were being bribed to let the attackers come inside. So they said, no, we should not fear the outsiders. We should fear the inside people. So that being said, that something that I just wanted to say by the side. But that being said, is the most important thing is protecting our data has to come from, first of all, from the within, and then before we talk of the outside, the within, like you have a lot of programs there that is called access management and uh, uh, like like most companies, they use a lot of algorithm to maintain and protocols to maintain their data, like who like who can and cannot have access to that data based on roles and based on positions. So they use that to maintain who can and cannot. So if you are a manager, there are things that are expected for you to see. If you are an accountant, there are things that you can and you cannot see. So based on your role and position, they use that to do that. Also, they use other they can use even your computer that you are using. That your computer, they can lock it down in a way that you can't access. Using that computer, there are things that you can't access. And once you go to that website, you want to access it, you will see this big red something that say, no, you cannot do that. So those are things that I know. And then it depends on also different layers of the database. You can do it from the database level, you can do it from the network level, you can do it from the computer level, you can do it from the software level. Those are things that I have seen. And I think if most of these things are in place, it's going to be very, very difficult for data to be tampered with. So when you talk about tracking who has access to it, that's what that's the area that I was coming from. Who can, who can, who cannot have access to that data.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Claudia.
Okay. I have a practical example of that.
Yeah.
That will fit into this. So during the course of bidding for companies, the what's important is like the job goes to who, the lowest bidder, and then so you're concerned with prices on what the items are. So once the bid is out, and then the companies go in and put in their bids, everybody wants to ensure that you're within that range where you don't outbid yourself, where your prices are not so much, because you'll be kicked off. So what's important? You need intelligence on what the competition's prices are on this, because the same bid was sent to you and your competition, right? So you need to know what these are. Now, how do you get this? Most times you could get this if you have friends who are inside the other establishments that can help you, give you ideas what this what it will be. Sometimes you could also get them from those who are in the procurement department of the mother company, or the company who has given these bids out. And how do you do this? So if you have friends one of the things you try to do is to make friends in that company, friends that you can actually take out in the evening, and then when the boys are seated outside in the evening and you're seated on pepper soup and kwabi, you can easily talk one or two things and get some information. So it helps you. Once you're able to get those information, say, hey, I know this company is actually the present what's it called? Present contract holders of this particular service. And we know, you could easily know, okay, you guys, last time you did well, but you were like this percentage off, or you were like this percentage down. And then sometimes you also get from them the last prices that was used. So it's not right, but like just adding to what you said, if this information are not well secured, it could leak out. Also in the system, those you could actually lock or encrypt them or keep this only to persons who are supposed to work in these areas, and these guys should be loyal to the company they work with, so they don't let out this information. If I get a good information from my competition, I could easily make out what it was. If I was say 15% low or high, I could bring it down, make it shuffle a little into some areas, look at areas that I think the customer might not really use, reduce my prices there, and then make it up somewhere, and then submit it as my bid, and I could easily beat my competition.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Nico, your hand is up. Nicholas.
So what I got from it is that like the solution to a lot of these issues is basically like checks and balances, if you want to call them, like multi-layered factions on many levels. So obviously with say for example with WhatsApp may have a data leak. They will have security on their end that would be like encryption, do you know what I mean? And that kind of cyber security. And then you're going to have on your own phone, your own passwords, which is another layer of security. And this is how they keep it as safe as possible. So there's multi layers of security from the company all the way to the consumer.
Yeah,
that's basically.
Yeah, that's a very good input anyway. Yeah.
We also have things like firewalls that protect the network from unauthorized access or cyber attacks. You have files being encrypted, so that's another way too of protecting them, making sure that you're only sending out to the person it intends to go to. And so with that firewall, so you have if you're getting mails from outside, they probably would not like in my company. Most of the times when it's an email coming to you, it takes some time before you can actually read what the email is saying, especially if it's coming from outside. So they've encrypted it. The IT people are probably checking what's in the email. So I tell people never send me personal emails at work. And once they've done all the checks, and they're sure that it's all right to be open to the company, they open it up. I have worked in the place before where people have received pornographic emails and they got sacked for it. So that in that kind of situation, I would say their cybersecurity was a bit lax for them to have received email like that, and then they were able to circulate it amongst people in the company. So quite a few people got the sack for that particular email.
Mm.
So yeah, so these are the ways in which we also have antiviral softwares where any malicious software that's trying to get into your PC is stopped immediately. I think Microsoft and quite a few companies do that particular one. And then, like Nicola said, we have the two-factor authentication, where if you're trying to log in, there's an extra step required. Extra verification. I think most of the social media companies now, from Facebook to Instagram to WhatsApp and all that, they're all doing that two-factor authentication. And anytime you try to get into the system, something stops you until you're able to put in the right password, the right codes, and all that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I have okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to give an example.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking that most companies they use the VPN and then the authenticator now.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the practical aspect of it happens, but we need to continue to have the understanding and the challenges that we face in this complex digital world. And then as someone who is going to be highly paid to take care of data in terms of security or protection, you must ensure what you need to do practically. You don't go being employed and say, oh, what can I do with this data? No, you know it. You already know what to do. So this is what matters. That's why I give people opportunity to, articulate or say one thing or the other. But one thing we must know in an interview, they're going to say, how do you ensure our data being safe? How do you ensure that? And how will you socialize or communicate the safety and protection of our data to all concerned? They could also put it in a different way that to stakeholders. So, how would you be able to, what would you do if there is a cyber security, cyber attack from external? What would you do?
So what I would do is I would analyze all of the data to see where, I'd analyze basically all of our checks and balances. Anytime there's a security check, what went wrong, and if there isn't one in place where there should be, that's what that's what you'd be looking for. You'd be looking to see.
So if I get you right, what would be the first thing to do when you talk about cyber attack?
Cyber attack.
Yeah.
Well, you'd stop the attack. Number one, you try and find the source of the attack. Number one, and try and whether it be a virus, a hacker, and then you would address the issue by making sure that doesn't happen again, either with a firewall, multi-factor authentication, or encryption, or all three.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a very good one, but yeah, I just want any other person? First thing you will do.
I think you shut down the access, shut down everyone's access to the internet and try to see onto data, try to see where the issue is, so you could actually work on it and see how you can and see what you can do to rectify that. But there should be a system where you should be able to stop everyone from being able to communicate in or outside.
Okay, so what will you be the first thing you will do? You can phone a friend or answer.
So I didn't understand the question.
If there is a cyber attack on your company database, what will be the first thing if you are the one in charge? What would you say? First thing you will do?
I think they have a department that you have to call immediately. First of all, your manager, because I think normally you have the hierarchy. So whatever your company hierarchy
manager, this happen to be a manager. You have manager, and you're working at. You are a manager, and you are in charge of the program or the entire security data in the. Or let's assume you are the head of data. So what would you do?
Like I said, it's not one size fits all. Whatever the company protocol is, you have to follow it. They have rules what to do in situations like that. They could tell you to call a department immediately, or do something. Whatever the company's rules are, you have to follow. That's what I'm gonna say.
I think you communicate it to everybody.
Thank you. That is the first thing. No matter how it is, you are in charge. The first thing you will do, the protocol, even the protocol that's set up, policy put in terms of the data program of the entire company, you are part of it. So the question say, how will you ensure and what will you do? First thing you will do if a threat has come. So that's, if your hand is up.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that if there's a cyber attack or you suspect a cyber attack, the first thing most companies say is when you are employed in your induction, if you bother to go through the materials that are given, they always say if you suspect an email that is going to be malicious in any way, what you need to do is delete straight away, contact the IT department. What the IT department will do is that they will go through the system and immediately delete all at the same time how many people that thing has gone to. That's what the IT department will do.
Okay, you are not talking about the IT department, we're talking about you.
Yeah, but because there's some people that are like myself, you send an email, I'm quick to click on that email. So to prevent people like myself from doing it, what the IT department does is they stop it at the point of entry. So it might have been that two persons
Claudia said something about the protocol. Okay.
That's the protocol in a lot of organizations now. They say the IT department, whether data governance or anything, the IT department is the first point of contact. Don't open that email, just delete it and contact them straight away. and then we do all the deletions at the
What
same
will
time.
be the most important thing to do, the most part of the protocol to do?
Contact the IT department as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Maria Garrity,
Thank you so much, sir.
yeah.
From what we learned last week, we talked about socialization, and of which I requested for more explanation on socialization. And if I can remember what it is again, we talked about having a communication flow among co-workers
Absolutely.
within you are working with,
Yeah.
and as well as others in the company. And the communication has to revolve around past situation, present situation, and the future, like if there is any issue, how it can be solved, and the way forward. So with this question now, I think the first thing to do if you're heading the section or you're heading the set, a team as a data governance personnel, the first thing is to communicate, like socialize with the information, and like keep everybody on the lookout or on the alert that so and so is going on or is being suspected and all that. Then taking it from there, contacting the IT, just like Effie has said, and that.
Thank you so much. See, this question is a very big question because the essence of you carrying an initiative and want to have an assurance of your data that you are governing and also managing is to secure the entire data that will produce value. Okay. Now there is an attack. So you know what the consequence will be. So on that basis, you need to follow the protocol as Claudia has said, the protocol of which, if the protocol is not well defined, you need to define it properly. Now, the first thing you do is to tell to make sure the chief executive has an information to that effect immediately. And then we're talking about stakeholders. Once the chief executive has got an information to that effect, while you are dealing with the issue, let the public know, because they're going to come and investigate what time do you receive something. If the public only knew after maybe 1 hour or 1 day, it's a very big problem. A very, very big problem. Because you're dealing with people's data. They have the right to know when something happened. So communicating it immediately doesn't put you down. Rather, it gives you reputation that, oh, these people, they can protect ours only despite this attack has taken place. They made us know. So when you communicate, you say, in any case, we are on it and it will be resolved immediately. So that is an assurance. Okay. Communication is the first thing. And when immediately you communicate with IT, is already aware. They know what to do. So, but let the chief executive, because the chief executive, that thing delay before it gets to him, he himself may lose his own work, lose his own job. So it's very, very important. So raise alarm immediately. And then while others are doing what they are doing, Claudia, your hand is up.
Yeah, I was going to say that from time to time also, they have to put this vulnerability test in place.
Thank
You
you.
have to make sure your environment is not vulnerable to attack.
That's
Very
periodic,
important.
periodic,
And then from time to time, you know, there are situations where you have to bring in like a expert from outside to help you people, like maybe like all these auditors or some other kind of vendors. As soon as they are gone out of that door, it's recommended that you implement hardening of your system.
Absolutely. That's where experience comes in now. Absolutely. And it's important that as soon as we get that done, like Barrister said, the policy would usually advise that you don't open such emails and yeah, of course. Yeah, just like what if you say. And in most cases, like as Claudia has said, it's advisable. You are the one in charge. is about security. As not, maybe external expert you brought in, or just a vendor has get something in. So immediately go into what has been there and what has been done there, and make sure your security is ensured. You are the one in charge. So this question always comes, and it's so strong because people want to know that the person who they are paying such amount of money and giving the authority to take care of their data know what he's doing. Very important. Okay. So a cyber attack compromising customer data, of course, we know, leading to privacy breaches and organizations. So what will you do? The solution that which all of you have actually contributed. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Ownership identification. This is one of the problems you're always going to be facing when you are employed. So to identify data owner is a very big problem. So, and how will you mitigate against it? Also, we need to do that. So ownership identification. This is tracking data ownership to ascertain responsibility for data integrity and security. So who will you give the ownership of data from account to? Could be head of the account or the accountant. If it is IT, head of IT. If it's a human resources, head of human resources, those kind of it. So those are the owners of data in their various domain. So on that basis, they are charged of taking responsibility of the integrity and security of data that they're having within their department. So the challenges are sometimes ambiguity regarding data ownership result in a lack of accountability for maintaining data integrity and security. Okay, so now can you cite an example of such? So the example I put there is not limited to the case we have in terms of challenges. Can you cite an example, anyone?
In my own situation,
Yeah.
can I say? Can I talk?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. In my own situation is what normally results in ownership identification. The problem is improper training when it comes to triaging. So you have to train your team on triaging, and it's very, very important. In this situation, that's where you know who to reach out to in case something happened, who owns this, who is the person, the point of, we call them the POCs, the person of contact, when this happened, when that happened, when this, who owns this, who owns that. So triage training is where this comes to play.
Absolutely. So any other person?
Let me give an example. Yeah, I can give an example. So let's say you have departmental head. So let's say like the supervisor, and then you also have what we call journey management team. So if you have people going out to the field for location, you normally have a record where names are written down, number of persons that are going to leave the location, leave the base to go out, and the time they will leave. So the journey management is responsible for the time they leave. If everything is in place when they are leaving, if they're going to, they're to ensure that they follow the recommended routes that will take them to their location, and then persons that are going to be in the truck. So these such persons will capture their employee numbers, yeah, and all that, just for them to be in database. Now again, the supervisor is also supposed to have a record of who is leaving, who the person is leaving his team, their employee numbers, the time they will leave, and all that. So these are two persons responsible for two different data, but concerning the same employees. So if the journey management data does not match with what the supervisor has, that's already inaccuracy data already. That's the first place. Secondly, one person should be one person, either the supervisor or the journey management manager, should be responsible for that particular data to go into the database. So we know on Monday, 3 members of this company in this department left out for location on at so and so time, and these are their names, and they had this and this in the vehicle when they were leaving. So somebody has to be responsible. So I think in my case should be journey management, but then supervisor should have a record, but journey management should be responsible to put the right data. And most times journey management should align with supervisor to ensure they'll have the same records before it goes into data.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And that. So if you look at the example, there are multiple departments claim ownership of the same data set, causing confusion about who is responsible for its accuracy and protection. So you can now see that organogram is really needed in this. So if you can have a very good organizational structure and appoint data owners by departmental on departmental basis, designated, that will be able even have a deputy to that effect. It will be so easy. And make sure they are in charge and they are accountable and responsible to every data in their domain. So if any of the department wants to go and get data from data, there will be authorized access. Okay, this question also comes. And say, I wonder what can you tell us one of the challenges you have when you were working or wherever you're working? Identification of data owner is one of the biggest. Even some of them don't even agree to become data owner because they felt that it's a high responsibility. Meanwhile, they're already doing it. So yeah, they're already doing it, but because you're bringing a program now, so they feel that it's a burden on them to say, okay, more eye on me if I have to be owner. But you can, yeah. Nico,
So
hands up. Yeah.
Yeah, so doesn't that point to like a bit of a waste of resources if like two departments are doing the same job? Like you're almost exhausting one department or both. But if for example, so like it almost makes it easier to spread that if everybody knows what they're doing and two departments are covering the same thing, it makes it easier on both departments. Does that make sense?
Well, it depends on if you are the manager, feel that makes sense. But to me, practically, it's not really too good because it would make people to be responsible.
Okay,
responsible for one data, so that if anyone wants to use the same data from another one, it should have an authorized access.
Okay.
So that is why even when you look at people's website, when you're socializing or communicating your data publicly to stakeholders, one is public relation, and you after having that, if anyone wants to know more of the data, they say, could you register with your name, your address, with company?
Yeah.
They are trying to say, if we can give you access to that detail.
Yeah, I get you.
So that if there's a problem, then they will know where to trace it. Someone is in charge of that data collection from whoever who want to get access deeply. So this is how it goes. So it's the same thing when you have functional departments and someone wants to get data from another department. It must have an informed concept from the data owner of the other department. Very important. And how long will you use it? You have access, and what will you use? Those are the things that need to be included in those forms, fill it online. How long will you use the data, and what is it for? And when will you stop you having access to it? Clara, your hand is up. I love that.
So I was going to say that this might look like something simple. It's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating, especially when there is a breakfast that needs to be done, and then you begin to look for who's going to take ownership.
That's it.
I've been in meetings that are supposed to take maybe 30 minutes. And here we are all day. We are looking for who owns this data. Sometimes we have to look to India. They're already sleeping. Sometimes we have to look to England, your country. They're already sleeping. And we are still looking for who owns this data. I think, I believe cross-training, departmental cross-training is also key to eradicating this situation.
Yeah, thank you so much, because I can tell you seriously that is the answer to what you can mitigate against such a thing. Because the first assignment I'm going to give, this is one of the problems. And if you're going to face interview, if you're going to face interview, if you're going to, in interview, they ask you this question, it's never a joke. They'll, and you be by mistake, identification of data owner, how? They will say, what is there for me? Okay? So then, how did you get them to buy into your program, to take responsibility and accountability? Then you say, much training, just like what Claudia has said, much training, or doing more workshop and let people be acquainted with why they should buy into it and their responsibility and accountability. So when you're dealing with the roles and responsibility of data governance, it is when you know who is in charge of data with this certain domain. The accounting department has its own. There is no way the Department of Maintenance will ask for NI of somebody from accounting department. What is it going to use it for? So you are maintenance as a mechanic, and your head is asking asking for NI, your NI from HR, or you wonder what they're going to use the NI for, or account department. You wonder what they're going to use it for. So, and you have to really, these trainings are very important. So you need to articulate what you have done before in case like that, or what you tend to do in case like that. So say it as if you actually know what you're doing for a very long time. It's very important. I'm happy for the interaction that's taking place this evening. It's a more thought-provoking.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so in as much as you have people who should be responsible, yes. I think having one or two departments having same data, but these are the these departments, they're responsible for that data, could also help you when you're trying to ensure that your data you have is has integrity, because there are situations where the person that is supposed to do the reporting or responsible for that data might have a wrong data. How do you ascertain that data is correct if it's just the only one that has that data because he's responsible for that data? But if you have some other departments that have that data, but because they're not responsible, you could actually go back and trace and see where the mistake is, and then we can, during investigation, we can say, okay, this is where somebody gave a wrong reporting to this person, and then be able to get what's accurate. So maybe the guys in procurement, no, not procurement, the guys in responsible for inventory, or what they call them again. So they might have given out maybe 5 items that cost this amount, and then it goes back to the accounting and say we've sold this so amount. But meanwhile, they probably are giving 5 items. One of the items have a close description but different. Because it's different, that the cost of that particular item is supposed to be more than what the other probably 5 items, the remaining 4 are. But because the person has put in a wrong description, the cost in the system will only identify that particular cost multiplied by 5, which has already given a false result in the when it comes to the finance or the accounting part. So for that reason, if they trace back to the department that has actually used this material, and they go back, say, okay, this material number 1 was actually the what's it called, the batch number was different, similar in so thing, maybe different in the ID, and that difference as will result to a less cost, a higher cost. So that will help you clean that data correctly. And so I'm just saying that in as much as, okay, if you're looking at what we have sold, the department that's responsible, which is the inventory, of inventory, or maybe sales department, right? They might have this figure, and because they are not directly involved in the engineering part, they don't know. They just see what comes in their system, and they send that back to their account, which says we sold this. And meanwhile, we didn't actually, okay, maybe the auditing. But what I'm saying that in as much as one department should be responsible for that, we should be able to, for the sake of investigation or for the sake of cleansing our data to ensure that we have integrity in what we're putting into the system. One or two persons should have it, but so and so persons should be identified and recognized to be responsible for that data.
Okay, now thank you for that scenario. But to be quite honest, really in terms of governing data, one person must be data owner of a specific data. When it comes to sales, someone is data owner of that sales. You can have stewards, but by the time you have two people having become a custodian of data, then that case must be exceptional. Really, to be quite honest, it may be difficult for the data governance manager or the head of data to track. And when you talk about different domain, different data, let the head, if it is possible or agreeable, let the head of that department be the data owner. You have to classify data that are meant for each data owner. So it helps you. It helps you to identify who is actually the data owner. So if you now begin to give two departments, no matter how close they're working, because when you look at sales and look at warehouse and inventory, they are very close, but I can tell you they have to own different data. The warehousing, we talk about inventory or material, just say material department. They have their own in the inventory. But whether raw material or finished product, they are there. They are the custodian of those data. But sales got their information from the product sales or raw material sales, the sales of raw material, sales of product. So that is their information. The accounting got what has come in from sales. So anything that goes to the accounting, automatically the accounting has their domain. And then what is it called? The head of accounting is the owner of the money that has been put there. So what happened is that if a warehouse or material department want to get information from accounting, you need to get to the data owner there to authorize it. And there must be a reason, no matter how close they are working in terms of functional department or working process, they need to have assigned data ownership to every department so that you'll be able to track data along the line and be certain of the data integrity and security. And that's my special advice, because it will be easy for you to govern those data and manage the same. So no matter how close they're working, it's good to assign specific data to specific owners as well in any company. So in order to avoid confusion about who is responsible for its accuracy and protection, by virtue of one thing that there is inaccuracy, you'll be able to also trace which department the inaccuracy came from. Okay, is that okay, Prince?
Yeah, very okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so solution to that, there must be clear data ownership protocol. Like Claudia said that. Let me tell you, this thing we're talking about, as Claudia says, no, it's simple, it's not simple. That is why in interview there, how did you mitigate against this when you could not? There must be protocol put together, assign custodians for each data set. That's what I said the other time. Very, very important. I think if you allow me, do you want me to rule it? Yeah? Do you want me to rule it?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Very important. Remember this for any interview. Please remember this. Very important. Regularly communicate and enforce these ownership guidelines across the organization. So when you talk about communicate, what do you mean? Regularly communicate.
That's socializing.
Socializing, okay, and what? Collaboration. Always collaborate. And the word regular here, you must have to well define in your policy. How regular will it be? And what kind of category that I will have the regular communication? If it is you're dealing with chief executive, how regular will you talk with chief executive? That will always take longer. Or if it is a cross-functional department, data ownership, how regular will you communicate with them? Bi-weekly or whatever was going on, or this and that. These things have to be, because all these things have to be where, enshrined in your policy to make sure they are followed strictly. So you will use that as your defense when the time comes, or when you are communicating with a stakeholder for any fiscal year budget. Okay?
Okay.
Sorry?
Bi-weekly would be okay when you're dealing with the
Depends on your program and depends on the complexity of data you are handling. So yeah, I think that should be okay. To keep you busy. Keep you busy. That will be okay. So, but if you are organization having a very complex data, probably it means something you have scalability, or migrating to cloud, and you dealing with third parties and all those things, you need to know how regular, and you can have your meetings, and also media acquainted with why you should be there. It should be done that way. So software selection, very important. One of the scope, picking suitable data governance tools that can address the wide-ranging needs of data governance effectively. It's not just addressing the governance of data, but how effective would that be? It's very important. So the kind of challenge you do face is choosing the right data governance tools that align with the organization's diverse data needs and operational requirements. Choosing the right tools, because different companies have different tools. Some of them even customize theirs to be suitable to their operations. So, and example of that is that current tools lack scalability, some of them, and integration of capabilities. So hindering effective data governance across various data formats and sources. Has anybody got any kind of example? Any other example? Any other example? So, how do you mitigate against this?
If you have the right selection, right tool selection, you should be able to mitigate whatever this will bring, whatever effect this will have on your database.
Yeah, how do you get the right tool selection?
I think this is where customization comes to play.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to look at, when I talk of customization, I'm talking of developers' work. You have to, because once you are given this software, sometimes the software just comes with a license, giving you the open hand for you to customize it to fit the use of your organization.
Absolutely.
So this is where developers come to play, and they have to look at what are we here for? What do we stand for? What our goals? What our everything. And while defining everything that the company stands for, then they begin to put all this into play.
Yeah.
In terms of cost, making it selecting which one that is, because sometimes it comes in a very long stretch of what you can do with this software. So you have to look at which one can we use and which one can we just sit down, like quietened, and do not let it be active in our own environment.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Claudia. Maria Garrity, your hands up.
Yeah, I think it's selecting the right software. You have to look at the policies of the organization, or like the company, what the company is doing, what they are out to do, and their aims. So that will guide to pick the right software, because there are so many similar softwares out there, and all might not have the same functionality or feature in the same, all might not have the same need in a particular company. So you need to know what the company is up to, what the company is doing, to pick a particular software that suits into the objective of the company. And also you need to look at the software you are not choosing. It should be able to meet the needs. Like most companies have, so many companies have stakeholders, and it should be such that it should be user friendly, like you mentioned here, and users should be able to navigate with little or no assistance. And it should also ensure that the software covers, is such that can cover diverse of data sets, like different category, cater for different category of people, as well as the data set that will be involved in the company.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, Claudia, your hands up again.
Yes, I love my brother who is always giving example. I'm not big on giving example, but that just came to mind. Like, for example, I run a CRM product. It's called Sibo.
Okay.
So with Sibo, when they give us that license, under that license comes with a lot of components, like Sibo Pharma, Sibo Electric, Sibo Energy, Sibo Oil and Gas, Sibo everything. So looking at the sheet, it's a long list of these things. And all you want to tell them is that I'm not into all this. You understand? But this is what I'm into. But they won't tell you. So they just roll it out to you. So now it's left for you to say, okay, I bought this. What are we for? Am I a farmer or am I a banker? Is my Sibo CRM going to cover me as a banker or oil and gas or this thing? And then, or around that, what you have chosen, because sometimes you can see that even though your company is this, you see yourself branching out into other small areas. So you have to look at the whole environment of what your company can accommodate. You pick those components, you customize them, and you run your business.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like everyone's contribution towards it. By the way, this our brother Bob Manuel, Tony from Nigeria. He's a very powerful. He's an engineer, oil and gas, and he's bringing example in. Is that such person always going to go far in data analysis and also data governance. So example is very important. Thank you, Claudia and Margaret from United States and Canada. You're welcome. So, okay, let's go to the next one. So, first of all, one thing for this software selection, you must conduct thorough assessment of your state. It's okay, very important to know how they can select your software. So, and like as I said there, talking about two functionalities, the functions of it, and you guys have said the same thing. Claudia, your hand is still up. You want to speak? Claudia, your hand is up. Okay. So scalability, how we can migrate, ease of integration, bringing different data sets together, and user-friendly friendliness of the software. So selection, you say, is something that you cannot do without. You can't do without selection and proper selection. You want to know your current state so that you know what to use it for. Okay, thank you so much. All right, the next one is data understanding. Okay, having having understand and insight into reality of the creation, usage, and access of organizational data, inclusive of metadata comprehension and data dictionary usage. You must understand your data. You must understand the data, the creation of the same, and how it will be used, and how it could be accessed, how you can bring them together, and also the dictionary of data uses as well. So that is how that's one of the scope of data governance. You must understand your data. If you don't understand your data, then how can you work with the data? So the challenge you face in this is lack of comprehensive understanding of data usage. And this could lead to inefficiency in leverage organizational data assets. Don't forget, data is an asset, valuable asset indeed. So you must understand your data. Otherwise, you're going to be having inefficiency of or every enterprise asset, data assets. So on that basis, what do you think would be example of such? If people don't understand data, what will happen? And what will be the example? So what will you do first? Like I have example here, incomplete metadata and the lack of data dictionaries make it challenging for analysts like Bob Manuel to interpret and utilize data set effectively. So that's an example. So if you don't know your data, how will you do? Or what would you think it would result to? Or what is the example of such if you don't know your data? If you don't have an understanding of your data, what will happen? Maria, your hand is up.
If I can try, I've not really worked in a company that deals with so much data, but from my perspective as a librarian, we have collection of resources in the library, and usually when users like patrons, like students use the library collections, like pulling down a book from the shelf to use, they are not supposed to take this book back to the shelf by themselves. They leave it on the desk. So the library officers on a routine on a daily basis takes the book they have pulled down from different parts of the shelf to the right place of the shelf. So by doing that, they read the shelf, they read the books to ensure that these books are properly shelved and the shelf are well shelf read to enable users who come again to pick this particular book from the right place. Because that book represents a lot and has a lot of information for users. So if it's wrongly shelved, it's not put in the right place, users will not have access to that particular resources. So I think it still has to do with what you see, it's still connected to what we do with data. If the data is not, the people who are handling the data in the first place don't even understand the kind of data they are supposed to be taking care of, can cause chaos. And they will be in a position of probably like mixing up the data into different segments or different sets, subsets. And when the data is needed to be used, going to where you are supposed to get the data from, you might not be able to get that particular data from where you are supposed to get it from. So when this data is not properly managed as a result of misunderstanding, accessibility becomes a problem. And when accessibility is a problem, usage, of course, is another problem. So the data will not, the data owners will not be able to use the data to achieve a particular goal. So I don't know if that helps.
Thank you. Thank you. I like that contribution. Absolutely. Really, really, absolutely. I have a question to ask when it comes to that. I'm coming over. Claudia?
Yes, it's very important for you to know, the uses of your data. For example, if you work in a banking sector or your data manage banking, you already figured it out that if a banker wants to access their money, they want it immediately. So now, how are you going to make that accessible to them? Also, if they want to read the balance of their bank account, they want to see it like ASAP. How are you going to make that available? So how are you going to make sure that they can do online transaction with that data? So a lot of things come to play, and you have to set all those functionality in place, that once somebody comes to their ATM, they want to slot in their card, that card is not going to be rejected. And you have to make sure that in such situation, because we call them high data availability, those are things we call them high data. That environment is high. There is no, in fact, as a matter of fact, the downtime is zero. Even when you have to do maintenance, you have to make sure that one way or the other, that data is available. So now we're talking of money, and money is everything that somebody stands for. Also, you want to protect their identity. How are you going to be able to protect their identity so that nobody will call and get money that doesn't belong to them out of their account? You have to put that functionalities in place. Also, you have to make sure that there is what is called data integration. Most of the time we use SOAP, to integrate data. For example, once you go to, you are in a business, you have a card in your hand, you go to the supermarket, you buy products. As soon as those products are bought, you want to check out, you use your card. That card, the system there goes straight to your bank to read, to make sure that you have that money in your account before they validate your sale and let you check out. What if they don't have that access? You just distorted the whole system of even that this thing, creating a long line of let's wait or it's decline. Is very frustrating. Also, so data integration is very key. Also, you have to make it user friendly, like even if they are dumb, they don't even know nothing, they can have access to their money once they put that pin, pen. Okay, it's a lot of things that comes to play, but what I'm trying to say okay, now let's talk about control. You understand? You have to make sure also that access control. Well, I think IBM has what is called identity management and access management tool that they use to who touched this account at what point in time. Do they have access to touch that account? You understand? Sometimes you want to, like in a hospital, somebody came, you just want to see the person, say, what kind of sickness does this person have? Although you have the thing to look into the person's health history, but because at that time you don't have that, you are not in that position to, it will block your access to it. You can't do that. So all those things have to come to play. I don't know. I think I'm going too far. Let me
No, you're not going too far. It's not going too far. You're talking about metadata. I'm talking about integration of data. That is very, very important because you can integrate data without understanding your data, especially when you want to do enrichment from a demograph, trying to enrich data in order to increase the usefulness of it during analysis. So you have different metadata. Let me quickly go to somewhere, probably trying to, let me go to data quality, just trying to let somebody know if it is possible. Okay, let me, no, let me just,
I was going to ask if this is talking about data quality and cleansing the data and all that. I don't know. I was a little confused. That's why I didn't say anything. I wanted to see.
No. What she's saying is very important because when you talk about, in this place, metadata here, okay, and you must to comprehend that is understanding it. So if you have metadata together and you need to have a dictionary so that there could be access and know how your data, you must understand your data. So what she is trying to talk about is data, especially data integration. Okay, can you see that? So in a practical aspect of it is when we're going to do data quality and how you're going to even present data quality initiative when you are asked to do so for 4 to 5 minutes. So in most cases, when you have metadata, different kind of data are coming from different places. You want to integrate them together And unifying them, you must understand your data. If you don't understand, if you don't comprehend your data, you can't integrate them. Okay, so that's what she's trying to talk about right now. So, and it's very important we know it, and so that we can work in the same if when you are employed. Okay, so she is saying the same thing anyway. So because in order to leverage organization data set, you must understand your data. So if you have incomplete metadata, and sorry, there's a meeting here by 6 o'clock anyway. I think it should give me another 10 minutes, please. If you have incomplete metadata, definitely you're going to have a very big problem in making sure your organization data quality is now having integrity. So the real sense is that you must understand your data. Is that okay, everyone? Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. So this is very important. So I just have this slide to make sure I finish properly. And usage tracking, you're using data. So this actually maintaining an audit trial for data creation. Okay, maintaining trial for data creation, reading and deletion. So with the capability to search the tray and spot unusual usage patterns. So the challenge you meet in this is that there's always difficulty in monitoring data access and usage patterns. Okay, so increasing the risk of unauthorized data handling and potential security breaches. So if there is a challenge of those, so for example, we have unauthorized user access, gain access to sensitive data and perform unusual data extraction activities, raising suspicions of security breach. So what can you do to mitigate against this? We have said something before concerning this, because it's a scope that needs to be dealt with. What do you think you can use to mitigate against any other thing? What would you do against these challenges?
Your policies on privacy and
Absolutely, very important.
security,
yeah,
in place, and then this will go with persons who will be authorized persons that could actually authorize the access of data,
okay,
depending on departments and the level that they are.
yeah.
So that will mitigate somebody trying to take out data when they are not authorized.
Okay.
So I've seen situations where even when you are design engineer, you're trying to get information about a particular thing, and then it will tell you this is where you find it. Immediately you click into it, it's going to ask you that you are not authorized. You need to send a mail requesting for authority, and then you have to send that mail, and then the boss at the top of that place will say, okay, authorized, and then it is recorded you were the one that went there and took that information on that particular thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, Claudia, I want to hear from you before I close.
Yes, we have what is called isolation.
Yep.
So you have to create different isolation level for every user.
Yep.
And then you have to use position and roles.
In the organogram.
Yes.
Yep.
And you also have to use, like I said before, identity management.
Mm-hmm.
And then access management. You have to use those protocols.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you have to use what is called LDAP. You understand? To
Yep.
even manage what you can and cannot do. You have to put a lot of protocol in place. Different companies have different things. Microsoft has something MQ series. Different companies have different things. So you have to use all those to manage the access.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I think Microsoft is the one that uses isolation level to make sure. Isolation level means each user, there are things that you cannot and cannot do. You can't make some changes, like some queries. You can't even run those queries on the database.
As
You
long
know?
as
Yeah.
it's well designed to go that way within your program, that is
Yes.
what's going to rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. This line has been busy since morning from one to another, and I must thank you, and it's still going to be busy after this. I really enjoyed today. I don't know if you enjoyed the same.
Absolutely, it was very informative for me. So
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So it's a comfortable place for us to stop for today. I must thank you for coming.